Now, since our last music battle, we've gotten a ton of suggestions, but absolutely the number one that kept coming up was John Bonham versus Keith Moon. As two of the most influential and important drummers in all of history, there's a ton to say. So let's get it on. Honestly, I just don't see your argument here. Keith Moon was the wild man, and you can hear a massive difference in the Who's sound after he dies, and it's for the worse. Find me another drummer whose absence completely changed the entire sound of a band from anywhere in history. The sheer power he played with is second to none. Listen to Happy Jack, listen to the Ox, listen to Live at Leeds. You can't top that. But the key is he played crazy with a point. It was never just going nuts just to go nuts. It was musically sound every single time. I mean, we're talking about a guy who had to duct tape his headphones to his head in the studio. That's the kind of power he brought. Sure, he might not have been the most technically gifted ever, but his creativity remains unparalleled. Maybe what you're hung up on is that he was more of a guitar player's drummer than a bass player's drummer. There is a difference. More than that, he was almost the leader in the band, something unheard of from rock and roll drummers to that point. He led from behind, and he could rile up any song he wanted to just with the fills he chose. I mean, when you really think about it, it was Keith Moon who established the drummer's place in a rock band and what they could do. You can hear him outplaying Pete Townsend on so many tracks. He doubles up the fills while he's kind of waiting for Pete to catch up. And to outdo Pete Townsend is no easy task, but listen to the tracks, it's all there for you to hear. Just find me any rock drummer from any point after him that doesn't take a massive part of their style directly from Keith Moon. His antics are as legendary as his performances are, and there's no question that it was his playing that laid the blueprint for punk rock. And let's also not forget that it was Keith Moon who kind of invented the whole destroy your drum kit to be cool idea. It's a rare occasion when they're right, but Rolling Stone put it perfectly. They said Keith Moon is to drumming what Jimi Hendrix was to guitar playing. What else more do you need to know? In the end, all I have to say is Quadrophenia. That is a masterful performance in every sense of the word by Keith Moon. Case closed, Keith wins. Have a nice day. Look, I love Keith Moon as much as the next guy, but there's simply no other drummer in history that even compares to Bonzo. He is in a musical universe all his own. It came from the inside, no training necessary for this guy. It's what gives his performances so much more soul. It's why things like Kashmir or When the Levee Breaks are so outstanding. Sure, it's a simple progression, but it's about the feel, the love, that groove he hits that makes those performances out of the reach of other drummers. This is also what allowed him endless creativity, whether he was playing with his hands, using all sorts of non-traditional instruments. It didn't matter. Nothing was off limits to him. John Bonham was so much more than just power. He was about finesse and groove more than almost any other drummer from his era. But at the same time, he could bring the power whenever he wanted. Listen to Rock and Roll, listen to Four Sticks, the list goes on. You just can't top raw energy and performance like that. You can't. There was simply nothing he couldn't do and do exceptionally well. Whether it was that shuffle on Heartbreaker or the Lemon Song or on so many other tracks, or the sheer style and diversity he brings on No Quarter and Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, he knows no peers. When it comes down to it, he was the perfect musical companion to Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Whatever tone, whatever mood they wanted, he could supply the best percussion possible. Along with that, check out the guy's work on the cymbals, one of the most overlooked things in all of drumming. You often miss it because of the guitars and the vocals, but the guy knew exactly how to put a well-placed crash or ride. It's one of the most overlooked elements of the Zeppelin catalog and one of the best. The guy was just as important and influential for the raw power he brought as he was for that feel, that groove bass, that untrained ear style that he had. And when it comes down to it, you can't argue it. His unique style has never been equaled. Just sit down and listen to Moby Dick. It's got melody and musicality more than almost anywhere else in music history, and it's all from the drummer's stool. Simply put, Bonzo knows no equal. Call me when you realize how right I am. So there you go, two sides to one of the biggest debates ever. Go down in the comments and make sure you tell me who you think wins this battle. And I know you have tons of suggestions for other battles that need to be fought, so make sure you comment with those too. We'll see you next time.